What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Unscripted Sports Show. I'm your host, Money E, with my brother Chris and Plymouth. How are you guys?
I'm good.
Good.
Last NFL show of the year, 2024, New Year's Eve. Wow, New Year's Eve is already here. um, so we'll be talking about there's 7 games that are important this week. Only 7. We're not going to talk about the Eagles game because there's really no point predicting that because it's it's just going to be probably most backups. Um, we'll talk about the games that happened this week. We didn't do a show last week, but there's some games that we can talk about. Let's talk about the Eagles game first. You guys got to watch it. So what? Let's start with you, Chris. What were your thoughts on the game?
Took care of business. Yeah,
Yep.
They did what they were supposed to do. So good. Look strong going into the playoffs here. So
Kenneth?
Yeah, I think Kenny Pickett stepped up big time for what he did for what happened last week compared to the Washington game when they just choked the game away. Especially on the defensive side of the ball, the defense really showed up and played out. Besides the second drive, the Cowboys was really neutralized and didn't really do anything. Cooper Rush this is an average quarterback, which everybody think he is better than Dak Prescott. I don't think so.
No. I mean, he had a good game against the Buccaneers, but they were at home, and that was a game that the Buccaneers probably should have won, but whatever. I'll ask you guys just the big question of the week. Barkley, should he play or should he not play? Cliff?
See, I'm 50-50 on this. Like, I want him to play, and the only reason I say I want him to play is because I think he can pick that up in the first half. He won't need to play the whole game. I think if he breaks 3 big games, the record is his. So
Exactly.
you give him a quarter and a half, and they can break 3 big runs. I think the record is his, and you sit him down.
Exactly. That's the way I feel. I feel they should play him a quarter and a half. If by the second quarter he's between 55 and 75, you let him finish the second quarter and even try to finish the game. Let him finish the half and get the record. But if he's under 55, maybe just one series in the second quarter. Maybe he does breaks through and get like 75 yards in one play or something. Because all it takes is like 25 plus yards on like 2 carries just in 1 quarter, and maybe he'll have it. I mean, 25 yards. He can easily break through and get about 80 yards before the second quarter, and you don't even have to play him in the second quarter. You can get it in the first quarter. So I am about 50-50 on this. I want him to break the record, especially against the Giants. That's pretty cool to break it against your old team that thought you were done. What are your thoughts, Chris?
completely agree. I think they should play all starters, to be quite honest, in the first quarter at the very least. Hurts needs to play. He can't go 2-3 weeks going into the playoffs without taking a snap. So they've showed us that in the past.
That's
That's what they like to do. They like to play 1 quarter at least, and then take them out.
That's a concern I have with Hurts. If they sit him, he's going to be rusty in the playoffs because he's the kind of quarterback that needs reps, especially in 2 weeks.
Yep, I agree. Yeah, one quarter, one half. That's what they should do. And then if Saquon's close, I'd say if he's at the 60, 70-yard mark, play him
Yeah,
until he
yeah.
breaks it. But I'd be surprised if Saquon doesn't at least take a few snaps on Sunday. I don't know. Every report saying that he's not going to take any snaps, though, so we'll see.
I think they're just I think they're messing with the Giants' heads. I think they're just not saying he's gonna play, so the Giants are not prepared. At least that's what I think. I think it's gonna be a last minute decision where he does play and he plays like a quarter and a half. And if by the second quarter, as I said, if he's between 55 and 75 yards, you let him finish the second quarter or even one series and see if he can break it. It's all if he's at 75, 80, all he needs is 20, 25 yards. So the Packers and Vikings game. That was a good game. The Vikings almost blew it. The Packers looked bad in the first three quarters, and then they came back. But I'm not a big Jordan Love fan, so I don't think the Packers are going to go far because I don't think he's made for the playoffs yet. But what were your thoughts on the game, Cliff?
Man, I think it was this. It was a tale of two halves between two different teams. Where you had a dominant 3 quarters for the Minnesota, and then I guess defense really didn't want Minnesota didn't want to go doing a towel. I think Minnesota is one of those they play for a lead and then they get too lax. Was you too lax with it? And I think that might be the downfall when he play Detroit this weekend for a home field or for the number one seed.
Yep. How about you, Chris? Did you watch any of the game? We'll catch it.
A little bit. We'll see what happens in the playoffs. I think Vikings look really good, but I still don't trust Sam Darnold. So I think it's going to end up being the Lions and the Eagles. It's going to be the Lions and Eagles or Lions and Packers in the NFC Championship game with the way the bracket's playing out. So
Yeah.
So I got one question for the both of you. Out of the two teams, who do you think needs home field the most? The Vikings or the Lions?
the Lions.
The Lions need to bye
Numbers
week more.
outside aren't good.
I think the Lions need to bye week more, but the Vikings need home field. That makes sense.
I think the Lions need home field because they haven't. Golf's numbers outside of the dome aren't good. Well, I guess Minnesota's in the dome as well, so I guess it might not matter as much. So,
Well,
the
the
Goff's
Lions are undefeated on the
staying at
road.
home.
They are 8-0 on the road this year.
Yeah.
What else games? You got the Bills destroyed the Jets. No need to talk about that because it was over by the fourth quarter because they sat Josh Allen. And Bills already have the second seed locked up, so they don't even have to play the starters against the Patriots. There's a lot of blowouts this week. Lions and Niners last night. I caught some of the game. This was a shootout, a big shootout. Niners had control of the game, and then the Lions, once they took the lead, they never looked back. What were your thoughts, Chris?
I'd love to see it. I hate the Niners. I might hate them more than the Cowboys at this point. I hate Niners fans. They're so cocky. I think Kyle Shanahan's incredibly overrated.
Yep.
I think he's a great offensive mind. He's a great OC, but what has he done? Nothing. So they talk about him like he's on the same level as Andy Reid or Mike Tomlin or Jim Harbaugh, but he's not. He's a choker in the playoffs. I mean, you're sending your kicker out. He missed like a 40. He missed an extra point. He missed like a 47, and then he could send him out for a 58-yard field goal. That would be his career high. What sense does that make? Brock Purdy looked like crap. Threw 2 picks. Yeah, he had 4 touchdowns and 375, but he threw picks at the most inopportune time. So when the broadcast is talking about whether they should go consider getting Sam Darnold or Kirk Cousins or these other quarterbacks, how can you pay Brock Purdy and be comfortable with that when you're not even sure if he should be the quarterback and you're testing the market a little bit? So I'd love to see it. I hate the Niners. So.
Yep. You're right about Kyle Shanahan. The only reason he is so hyped is because of his father. And he's nothing like his dad. Nothing.
Yeah.
Clay, did you watch the game last night?
Yeah, I watched it. I watched some of the game last night, and yeah, it was a good back and forth. In a way, I kind of figured that I was hoping the Niners would have kept it, but for some strange reason, I just knew Detroit was out. I guess for a revenge game after what happened to him last year.
Yeah.
But one thing I do realize is when Detroit, knowing that the game meant nothing, I would have sat some of the starters. I know you're all good, but here's the problem. It's going to be the downfall of Detroit. It's their decision making on 4th down. I think when they play the playoffs, they go for the 4th down. They don't make it on those short, giving someone else a short yard fields. Team like the Eagles, Vikings, they're going to eat you up. They're going to take those points when they can. Now I know Nick Sirianni's the same way, but here's something, and that really bothers me as well. You have to take the points when the points are there in the playoffs. This is one and done. This is not the best out of 7, best out of 3. It's one and done, and you go home.
Yep.
Build a lead and then keep it instead of chasing points and not going for unnecessary reasons. And Detroit's going to wind up hurting their defense, and their defense is already like full second, third stringer guys that we don't. Well, how are they all banged up? You can't do that.
Exactly. And you're right. I think Campbell is going to cost his team a Super Bowl appearance if he keeps being aggressive like that. And the same way with Nick. But I think Campbell is more aggressive with that. I think Nick has toned it down a little bit this year, at least the late stages of the season. But that's why the matchup's intriguing, because we're going to see 2 coaches that are very aggressive on 4th down, and one of them is going to cost their team a spot in the Super Bowl if we get that matchup. You can argue the Packers are kind of the same way too, aren't they?
I don't think so. I don't think the Packers are not more the same way because they realize that Packers do kind of play smart.
And the Vikings play smart too.
But
the Vikings are a dangerous team in the playoffs, especially if let's say they beat Detroit on Sunday and they get home field. Because they do have the weapons on the outside with Jefferson and Addison, and then they have Aaron Jones. We all know he's a great running back. So, and then Darnold, we haven't seen in the playoffs, so we don't know. We haven't seen Jordan Love in the playoffs either. Or did he make the playoffs last year?
He made the playoffs last year. He led that giant.
Oh, no, he beat Cowboys. Yeah. Yep, I forgot.
And they beat the 49ers.
Yeah. So we have seen Jordan Love in the playoffs. So my statement in the beginning, I was off. So
all right. So here's 2 teams I have question for because between Green Bay and Washington. Washington, right now is locked in 6 compared to Green Bay's in 7. Do you now? If Washington wins, they get the Rams. Washington loses, they come here to play the Philly wild card weekend. you're Washington, this is again, you're going to Dallas. Who do you want to be seated? Where do you want to go next week? You want to go to LA or do you want to come to Philly for
The Eagles third time.
a third time?
I don't know if Washington wants to play Philly for a third time. Yeah.
I don't want to play
If
Washington
I'm
for a third
Washington,
time.
I'd rather see the Rams.
I would, as an Eagles fan, I would rather see the Packers.
As an Eagles fan, I'd rather see the Packers as well. I think we historically in the playoffs we play pretty well against NFC North teams. You take a look at the Vikings a couple years ago. The year we went to the Super Bowl with Andy Reid, it was against Brett Favre. So historically, we play well against the Packers. I'm fine with either. I would love to see the Commanders just to shut their fans up because all they do is talk, talk, talk. They won one game against us, and they conveniently forget that we beat them, earlier in the season, and they act like Jaden Daniels is a top 5 quarterback right now, which he might be, but they're so quick to crown people before you even finish the first season. Look at what CJ Stroud is doing. Nothing.
Yep.
So I want to see the Commanders fans because they don't know how to win. They don't know how to act when they win. So I would love to humble them, but we'll see.
I think the Commanders would probably rather play the Rams. Because I don't think the Eagles and the Commanders want to play each other again. Because especially the second game with the I don't know.
No, Commanders want no parts of us in Philadelphia. They'd much rather play the Rams in LA because it'd be a home game for them because the Commanders fans will travel.
Yep. Are you in the same boat, Plaintiff? As an Eagles fan, would you rather see Packers?
I don't know, man. I mean, after that whole thing, I want the Commanders. I've been dying for the Commanders. I just want to shut them up after what happened with the whole Jalen Hurts because that second game was going to be a blowout if they did not. And I really don't think that had to be a call from someone else. I don't think Jalen Hurts was that hurt when he got hurt. Got set out. That was on a way to be a blowout when they took that 21-7 lead.
Yep.
That was going to be a blowout. And for some Vegas called up, sitting there saying, act like he had. No, I really don't think he got that hurt. And then it is seriously where it is.
One way I do want to see Commanders, and another I don't. I want that rematch with the Packers.
See, that's the thing. I don't know. I'm scared of the Packers just because we beat them already, and I don't know if we beat them twice in one season. With the Commanders, you split the series, so I think the Packers
always tricky, especially when you split.
The Packers are. I mean, they didn't win, but they're kind of scared. Their defense is really good.
Yeah.
I mean, what they did to the Cowboys last year in the playoffs and completely dismantling them. What's to say they can't do that to any team this year? So
yeah,
that's why I say the winner. If the bracket stays how it is, that's why I say the winner of the Eagles versus Packers divisional round will probably play the Lions in the NFC Championship game, in the wild card round, I should say.
Yep.
Well, the bracket stays the way it is today, or if Minnesota does wind up getting home field, that can lead Detroit coming to Philly for round 2.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think Detroit's going to win next week. I think they're gonna go.
Now, you think they're gonna put the Eagles on the Monday night wildcard game, no matter what?
If it's the Commanders, I can see it, but it's looking more and more likely it's gonna be the Packers. But if it was the Commanders, I can see us giving it its own game.
Because it is Green Bay.
It'll probably if Tampa Bay winds up winning the South, it's probably going to be the Tampa Bay game yet again.
Maybe,
Tampa Bay is playing on Monday Night Football on Wild Card Weekend since it came out.
Yeah, because they had Tom Brady, and then they played the Eagles last year.
Yeah, I just figured they're going to probably put it on Tampa Bay this year.
I could see Tampa Bay. I could see Philadelphia. I could see an AFC team like Buffalo. Now, now who? What are the playoff picture in the AFC matchups? You know, off top of your head. I mean, and kind of. Let me see.
Uh, n- I do know. Besides Kansas City locking up the first home field and Buffalo locking up too. I don't know off the top of my head. I can look that up for you real fast. So
Okay, because I mean I know Pittsburgh and Baltimore are still fighting for the division, and Cincinnati's trying to get in.
yeah, so that the AFC North will be settled Saturday night.
Yep. And depending on the Ravens game, that game might not matter for Pittsburgh, right?
All right.
So if the Ravens win for the
And
first game,
then
Pittsburgh's
based on
locked in the wild card, and it means more for Cincinnati.
yeah,
But Cincinnati needs a lot of help, don't they?
yeah, they need help, a lot of help. Losses by both the Broncos and Dolphins to win. They need to win, and Dolphins and Broncos to lose
Ooh,
for them to clinch so far a wild card spot.
wow. The Broncos are not going to lose because I think it's KC starting their backups because the line is -9.5.
I guess so.
That's a real fishy line.
In favor of the Broncos, you mean?
Yeah, 9.5 is a lot.
Then that's the case. You know Carson Wentz is probably starting there.
Yep. But why would KC start their backups if they have? So they're gonna have so the starters
KC
are not
played.
gonna play for 2 weeks, or they're gonna start. They're gonna do what the Eagles might do and play the starters first quarter.
No, I think and this is an Andy Reid. Andy Reid does this a lot. He did it when he coached for Philly. He did it. He does it again. He'll play if you have nothing to play for. There's nothing special. He's going to sit you down and he's going to rest you, allow you to get two reach west. That's a typical Andy Reid thing.
Yeah, I mean the Kansas City had a bye week last year. I forget.
No, they actually had to hit the road. They had one home wild card game, and then they hit the road
That's
for the
right.
last two.
So they haven't had a bye week in 2 years, I think, since they played us in the playoffs. I believe.
Yeah. But the
But
AFC, but she said you wanted the AFC matchup stuff.
yeah,
All right. So right now, if we're looking at it, we're looking at Buffalo's matching up against. Well, Pittsburgh will be matched up against Houston. Baltimore will be hosting the Ravens, and right now Buffalo will be hosting Denver.
ooh, I could see Buffalo. I could see them putting Buffalo or Baltimore on Monday night too because of Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, and they changed it up this year and put an AFC team on Monday night this year.
Hopefully, I mean, then you
If
also
they
got
do that, I could see Baltimore because because
and,
because of
and,
Lamar Jackson.
and don't forget that Prime is also doing a wild card weekend too.
Which one?
Amazon Prime is going to have a wild card game.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I'm trying to think who would they. They wouldn't put the Eagles on that, would they?
Yeah, well, either way, it'll still be on TV. So
Oh yeah. What are your thoughts on AFC, Chris?
Yeah, I think it's tough. I think it's going to come down to Ravens and the Bills. Ravens are my Super Bowl pick. Very rarely do you see a multiple MVP winner not get a Super Bowl. I don't think it's ever happened in history. Everyone eventually got their Super Bowl, including like Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning. So I think this is Lamar Jackson's year. I think this is his best opportunity to do it.
Yeah, you could argue it's Josh Allen's year too, because he's been as close as Lamar Jackson too. So
the only thing keeping me from picking either the Bills or the Ravens is like having another AFC winner. You have the Chiefs back to back, and then you have another AFC team. NFC team hasn't won since the Rams, which I don't know how much that matters, but I don't know.
So who's MVP in your guys' eyes? Because this has been an argument for the last 2 weeks.
Who should win it, or who's gonna win it?
Who should?
Lamar Jackson.
Okay.
Lamar Jackson or Saquon Barkley if he gets the rushing record. Who will win it? It's going to be Josh Allen. It's going to be the Embiid type of MVP, where Jokic probably should have got it that year, but they gave it to Embiid just because.
It's the same argument
Lamar's
last
numbers
year.
are better than he was.
People were saying Lamar didn't deserve it last year.
I don't know. I think Josh Allen, his better game, like his best games, have been better than Lamar's best games. But Josh Allen has had like one or two really bad games, and Lamar hasn't really had those games. Lamar's numbers this year are better than he was last year, and he won MVP. They're better than he was his first MVP year. So I don't. They're going to give it to Josh Allen, but I think it should be Lamar Jackson.
What do you think, Clinton?
I'm going to say Josh Allen. Now, I would give, as much as I want to say, I think Saquon should get it. For some strange reason, I just feel like the MVP been nothing but a quarterback award. True mind, I think Saquon Barkley should get it. He breaks a record. He should definitely.
Breaks the record. He needs to.
He needs to get it. But I just know that they're not going to give it to him because he's a running back. And it seems like just been like a quarterback or the last MVP that won a non-quarterback to win MVP was what? Adrian Peterson? Or is it Marshall Falk? Adrian
Peterson.
Yeah.
It's an AP.
I think the league is just chomping at the bit to give to Josh Allen. He's the darling of the league right now. So I think now that he has an opportunity, they're just going to give it to him. So but I agree. If Saquon breaks the record, I don't know how it's what, a 20, 30-year record? I forget.
Yeah. 42 year.
42 years? Okay. Yeah. If he breaks a 42-year record, especially doing it in less, I understand it's going to be 17 games, but if he's doing it in less carries and in a league where it's very pass heavy, I don't know how you don't give it to Saquon, but he's not going to win it at this point.
Yeah.
Unless he goes for 200 on Sunday, which I don't think he will, and 3 touchdowns, I don't think he wins it, even though he should.
Yeah. Because I don't think Josh Allen's going to even play this week. He will. I don't know. Will Buffalo play him?
I don't think any team is going to fully unless you're the number 1 seed. I don't see how any team sits their starters completely next week or this coming Sunday.
Yeah.
Or I should say this weekend. Most teams usually play either one quarter or one drive because going 2 weeks off isn't good, especially heading to the playoffs. So
yeah. I think Josh Allen, I've been saying Josh Allen for last month because I think he's doing more with less. And against Detroit, I think for me, it sealed it for me because the way they won that game, and he did everything to win that game. So it's it's probably the closest MVP race we've had in a long time, especially because it's 3 players. So you can make an argument for either one of those three. That's very intriguing too. That's what makes it so great in such a great conversation, because you can literally make an argument for all three. We can sit here for 2 hours and talk about which one should and which one shouldn't. Let's get to the games, unless there's any other game you want to talk about, guys.
Wow.
Let's recap last week. I went 6-2. I'm 68-52 in the season. Chris went 4-4. He's 60-60 in the season. And Cliff, last time you were on the show, you went 7-1. So yeah, you went 7-1 in week 10 when you were last time on the show, Cliff.
Yeah.
Great job.
Thank you. Too bad I can't turn into real cash money.
Let's talk about Saturday game. Browns and Ravens. Ravens are a 17.5-point favorite at -110. The Browns, if you're feeling lucky, if the Browns even care, plus 1,100 on that money line. But neither of us are picking the Browns. We're all picking Ravens. Yeah, I mean, is there any reason not to pick the Ravens here?
Yeah, if you're feeling lucky, you want to pay NFL off to get some big time money out of Vegas.
Exactly.
It's an
I think the
18-point
only
spread, and the money line's
way.
only 1,100.
I would feel different if Jameis Winston was playing, but since he's back on the bench, nah.
The Browns are tanking for. They might draft. I'm almost certain they're going to go Cam Ward this draft. Cam Ward or Shadur Sanders. I'm almost certain.
Are they in for the number 1 pick?
No, they're like number 2 or 3 right now. The Giants are locked at 4. I'm pretty sure. The Patriots are locked at 1.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That could change if the Patriots somehow wins.
I think they're locked. They're number 1 no matter what. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure.
The Raiders can't. Oh no.
Raiders can't move up anymore because they won 2 straight. Giants won this past week. So I think I saw Adam Schefter tweet that the Patriots are locked in the number 1 seed or number 1 pick. And they're obviously not going to go quarterback. So I'd be shocked if they don't trade out of that.
So the Giants and Raiders were 1-2 going into last week, and they both screwed up the last two. Raiders screwed up the last 2 weeks, and Giants screwed up last week. Leave it to the Giants having that number 1 pick almost locked up, and they win.
And they're going to end up trading up for Shadur Sanders probably. They're probably I don't looking at we can have a draft episode, and we should have a draft episode, but I'd be shocked if the Patriots stay and pick there because they need help all across the roster. So if they can trade out, get multiple firsts, they already have Drake May, who looks great. They'll probably trade with the Giants just because, or the Raiders even. So I think
the Raiders want Sanders too. Or do they want Travis Hunter?
No, Raiders need a quarterback. No, they need a quarterback. Because look at these rookie quarterbacks now. You put them you draft like a good rookie quarterback. Like historically, you needed like a really great team around a rookie quarterback to succeed. But look at what CJ Stroud did last year. Look at Jaden Daniels doing this year. Like, yeah, they got good weapons, but other than Terry McLaurin, other than Brian Robinson, and Zach Ertz, who else is on that team? And then you take a look at last year, Nico Collins was nobody until CJ Stroud showed up. Then Tank Dell was the rookie. And I had no idea Joe. I didn't even have Joe Mixon last year. So that being said, I think teams are saying, okay, maybe we don't need to have like this amazing roster anymore like we did previously. Like historically, if you have a good enough quarterback, they can elevate you so much. Especially if you're the Raiders or the Giants, who are going to play a last place schedule next year. So
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see where Cam Ward and Sanders go, and who's the first quarterback chosen.
they're projected to go top 5, both those guys.
Oh yeah.
Cam Ward is projected probably going to go to the Browns at 2 or 3, wherever they sit.
Because you have 3 teams that need a quarterback: Raiders, Giants, and Browns. They're all going to be in the top 5.
Someone's going to miss out. It's probably going to be. I can see the Browns trading out. I can see them because they just restructured Deshaun Watson's deal. He's going to be on the roster no matter what next year. He's probably going to be the starter. I can see them trading out to get like additional firsts. I think the Giants are probably at this point, because they got rid of Daniel Jones, they have to go quarterback, so they're going to trade up. Same with the Raiders, they have to go quarterback. So the Browns are.
I wouldn't be surprised if Jalen Gabriel jumps Sanders.
No, he's projected second round for a lot of.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
The Titans have the number 2 pick right now.
Okay. And they need a quarterback.
They need a quarterback.
But will they draft a quarterback? Because I don't think they've drafted
know.
a quarterback since Steve McNair, right? In the first round? Or Ryan Tannehill?
Now they traded for Ryan Tannehill.
No, Tannehill was
Ryan Tannehill came from
Miami.
Yeah. And we got to think about who's going to be free agents this year. Like Kirk Cousins is going to be a free agent. He's old, but he's still probably a top 20 quarterback. So someone will get him, and someone's going to pony up for Sam Darnold.
That's a Titans kind of move, because Titans don't draft quarterbacks in the first round.
Yeah, I can see the Giants definitely going quarterback. I don't know if the Raiders will, even though they need to, but they need it. They're currently projected number 8 right now, so they got to trade up.
The Raiders getting Kirk Cousins too. They're that kind of team that would draft. I mean, get a veteran.
Yeah,
I think. So.
Yeah, I think the Titans are going to get Sam Darnold. I think that just makes all the sense in the world for them.
You don't think Minnesota will bring him back for 1 more year?
No. Why? You're going to have to pay him a lot. He's only a 1-year deal. You have J.J. McCarthy. Why? Unless they win a Super Bowl, he's not your future. The entire reason for drafting J.J. McCarthy is so you reset your salary cap hit on your quarterback. They had Kirk Cousins. They didn't pay him. Kirk Cousins, he's Kirk Cousins, but he won a lot of games in Minnesota, but they didn't want to pay him. So why pay for another quarterback when you have J.J. McCarthy on a rookie deal?
Yeah. We forgot about Jets.
Jets are picking number. I don't even think they have their first round pick, do they? Oh, they do. Number 7. So there's a lot of teams that need quarterbacks this year. This might be the most interesting draft in a while.
Oh yeah, and we'll definitely do a show about that, because the Jets are an interesting story, because does Aaron Rodgers retire? Does Aaron Rodgers come back? What does Aaron Rodgers do? Huh?
Aaron Rodgers needs to sit down after this. Sick as me, man.
I know. He's a disgusting human being.
I had high hopes for Aaron Rodgers and that Jet team, yo. Sit down. Sit down.
Yep.
All he does is talk. He's talking about, not to get political, but all he can talk about is vaccinations and things like that. While his team's only won, 2 games this year, 3 games. He's talking about, I want to see your vaccination status if you're talking shit about me. Like, shut up, dude. Just shut up. Your team sucks.
They were getting shut out until Tyrod Taylor came in the game.
Like, you gutted you brought in, you made them bring in Devontae. What did that do? You got somehow worse with Devontae. Your team sucks. Garrett Wilson said he might. There's reports that Garrett Wilson might request a trade this offseason
I don't blame him.
if Aaron Rodgers is back. Like, I don't blame him either. He's a cancer.
Wilson is too talented to be overshadowed by Devontae Adams.
I don't think anybody wants to play with Aaron Rodgers. Like, why? He's not good anymore.
The Jets are a mess. Everything they do in the draft at number 7 is going to be what Aaron Rodgers does, and that's not good.
It doesn't even matter because they can't. Yeah, okay. Sauce and Garrett Wilson were hits. Yeah, but remember a few years ago they drafted Mekhi Becton. Okay, Mekhi Becton's looking like an All-Pro right guard in his first year in Philadelphia. Why couldn't he do that in New York? Because New York sucks. The Jets suck.
Yeah. At least the Giants have history of being a good organization.
Keyword had.
Yeah, that's only because they're a blue blood team. They've been around forever, but when you've been around forever, you got a lot of
Let's
to the plate.
talk about the Giants real fast. Those 2 Super Bowl ones they had, lucky playoff runs. Lucky. They were the first NFC team that won the Super Bowl from the 6th seeded 6th. First NFC wildcard team to win the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And they somehow got miracle lucky again against Tom Brady. For some odd reason, Eli is Tom Brady's daddy. I'm sorry.
And Tom Brady is Peyton Manning's daddy.
But younger brother Ken.
It's funny how that works.
And the Giants are a better or worse team than the Colts. Explain that.
Yeah. The Sunday night game. I mean, not the Sunday night game. The Saturday night game. It's the Bengals and Steelers. This game might not mean anything for the Steelers, but it's in Pittsburgh. The Bengals are going to play hard in this game. We differ in this game. Chris has the Steelers. Me and Clint have the Bengals. Any reason you have the Steelers, Chris?
I think everyone is thinking that the Bengals are going to backdoor their way into the playoffs, and the Steelers are going to play spoiler this weekend.
I could see that too. I think it just depends on what happens to the Ravens game, too. So I could flip my pick if the Ravens somehow lose and then the Steelers have a way to win the division, but I don't think that's going to happen. So it should be a good game because Bengals and Steelers are always fire. So that's why they put this on Saturday night, because Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are going to do everything they can to try to put themselves in spot to get in the playoffs. Now I'll ask you guys this: if the Bengals make the playoffs, are they a dangerous team?
Oh, Buffalo play that team. Oh, Buffalo don't want that. They don't want that smoke. Oh, they do not want that smoke. Anybody play the Bengals, they don't. Buffalo better pray the Steelers win that game.
Yep.
Oh.
Chris, do you think the Bengals are a dangerous team?
Offensively, yeah, I don't know about the defense. That defense is really suspect. I understand that, there's highs and lows for defenses every year, but I don't know how you have like one of the worst defenses in the league and Trey Hendrickson's leading the league in sacks. That doesn't make sense to me. So I have no idea how good or how bad this defense really is. But the offense, I mean, Joe Burrow, we're talking about MVP. If we're talking about Josh Allen, Lamar, and Saquon, I mean, Joe Burrow deserves to be in that conversation. I don't think he's better than either of them, but what he's done, his numbers are
back this year after he got injured.
His numbers are really, really good. Really
Yeah.
good.
Joe Burrow proved that he's still a top 5 quarterback in this league. And the Bengals lost some games that they should have won. They should have at least won one Ravens game, and maybe even I forget another game they should have won. But there's a couple games they should have won, and they might be in this division race if they hadn't messed up in the beginning of the season.
Oh yeah. See, all right. The way I say it is like this: if the Bengals get in, I think Joe Burrow has enough weapons to deal a shootout in Buffalo to make people sweat. I think Buffalo might take it, but they're going to be sweating a whole lot more if they had to play if they have to play Cincinnati compared to playing Denver or someone else or
Yep.
Miami.
Yeah, it's like don't let Joe Burrow get in because he's as clutch as they come and he's as game as they come. I mean,
The Bengals are if you think about it, the Bengals are the hottest team in football right now.
it might be. I don't know.
Imagine if they played like this in the beginning of the season. They would probably be fighting for number 1 seed. If their defense was any good, the Bengals would probably be in the playoffs.
True.
Yeah, I don't think anybody wants to see the Bengals in the playoffs. Not the Chiefs or Bills.
I
And
agree.
those are the top 2 teams in the playoffs. I don't think the Ravens even want to see the Bengals for the 3rd time.
And to tell you the truth, and if the Bengals get past that first round, Kansas City do not want that. Oh,
Yep.
because the competition of Kansas City being one and done will be reality.
Yep. Because the Bengals, the Chiefs and Bills do not want to see the Bengals in the playoffs. And those are the top 2 teams in the playoffs right now. Even the Ravens, the top 3 teams in the AFC, do not want to see the Bengals because the Bengals lost two already to the Ravens, so it's hard to beat this team 3 times in a row. And the Bengals beat the Chiefs a couple years ago, and the Bengals beat the Bills a few seasons ago too. So none of those 3 teams want to see the Bengals in the playoffs. That's a dangerous team right there. The first game on me and Clem have the Bengals. I have the Bengals because I think right now they're on a mission to get in the playoffs. But they need a lot of help, but they are focused on that getting that playoff spot. Is that why you picked the Bengals too, Clem?
Well, I'll pick the Bengals for that, and because the way Pittsburgh is, I just don't have Pittsburgh is just falling apart. I mean, you look at the last 3 games. Yes, you look at it's Kansas City. They play Baltimore and they play the Eagles. And each 3 of those games, you figure that they'll like put up a fight at least against Baltimore. They fell apart against there. The past game is not the same. Even though with the return of George Pickens on Christmas Day, they get smoked by Kansas City, making Patrick Mahomes look like a god, a god again for no apparent reason. I think this is Kansas City's second win all time, win this year, or 10 or more points.
Exactly. Panthers versus Falcons. Falcons need to win, and Buccaneers need to lose in order for them to get in the playoffs. Because they can't back their way in wild card. So this is all or nothing for the Falcons. They basically blew it on Monday against Washington. Me and Clarence both have the Falcons. Chris, you have the Panthers. Any particular reason for the Panthers? Just plain spoiler?
Yeah. Falcons probably win, but I don't know. If we're trying to have a better record for picks by the end of the year, this podcast, I need to do something different. So
Yeah.
I think I'm a little behind. So
And Cliff, you have the Falcons just because.
Well, I think this is just because. Now, don't get me wrong. I do think it's going to be a close game. Michael Penix Jr. doesn't look like all that impressive to me to be like, if he gets into the playoffs, it's going to get, no, they're going to get smoked. Okay.
Yep.
I think he should have just let the season go, played out the way he did with Kirk Cousins. I mean, you
That's
just
what
got
I feel
lucky.
too.
Played three. You had a good three back end to be able to decide to sit Cousins to play these three teams. But
Yeah, I agree that I don't
I think
think
Bryce Young,
I don't
Bryce
think
Young,
MPJ is quite ready. I mean, he looked okay against Washington at times, but those two picks were bad.
yeah. But then
Yeah, I have
also
the
Bryce,
Falcons just because they're at home and they need to win. But I don't think I think they blew their chance on Sunday because they don't control their own destiny now. Speaking of the Buccaneers, Saints and Buccaneers, we all have Buccaneers here. All they have to do is win. That's pretty much why I have the Buccaneers. But I think the Saints can cover the 13.5. Maybe not because their car is not back. So never mind. I think the Buccaneers win here.
I think the Saints are going to play spoiler. Saints or the Panthers are going to play spoiler.
Oh, I could see that. That would be interesting.
Division games, I think one of them is going to win.
That would be very interesting if
yes,
spoiler and then the Falcons somehow walk back their way in and win the division. But nobody wants to see that. Everybody wants to see the Buccaneers. Baker Mania.
Do they get him 2 years in a row? I don't know.
Yeah.
I said the Saints was healthy. Yes, I can see the Saints being spoilers, but the Saints are not healthy. No David Carr, no Alvin Kamara. The wide receivers are on IR. Your defense is sus. I just don't see it happening.
I see the Panthers more than the Saints.
I believe it more. The Panthers have a better chance of being spoilers though, because of Bryce Young. Bryce Young, ever since his benching and coming back off the bench, looks much better than he did before at the beginning of the season.
He actually looks like an NFL quarterback. But yeah, we all have the Buccaneers, but it would be nice to see a spoiler. And speaking of spoilers, Dolphins and Jets. Could this be Aaron Rodgers' last hurrah in the NFL? Could the Jets play spoiler here? Is that why you picked the Jets too, Chris?
Yeah, I feel like they're just due. They haven't won in I don't even know how long. I can't remember the last time they just won.
Yeah. They win a game and then they lose like 5 straight.
I don't know.
I think the spread is telling you a lot too. -1.5. I know they're on the road.
Because it's in New York.
Is Tua playing?
They're in New York, and plus, you all know Miami can't play in cold weather. So
Yeah.
that's the only thing, something that it had to just have it's the weather, and then they're playing upstate New York, and Florida teams coming.
I could see the Jets winning. I might change my pick actually.
But I just don't. I don't see it. I think Miami has a chance to win, even though Tua's not playing or whatnot. I still think they can beat the Jets.
I'm gonna keep the Dolphins, but because I already put it here. So, but I wouldn't be surprised if Jets play spoiler, especially if this Aaron Rodgers' last game. It wouldn't surprise me. But that should be interesting game too. Another divisional game. I mean, all these games are divisional games, so they do that. And then the Chiefs and Broncos. As I said earlier, Broncos are 9.5-point favorites. Chiefs plus 420 on the money line.
Broncos are winning in, right?
I would sprinkle some on that money line.
I might change my pick. I think the Chiefs might win.
You're gonna change your pick?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think Chiefs win. Carson Wentz is playing. I think everyone expects the Broncos to win. I don't know. It's winning in, right, against backups. That's fishy.
Yeah. I believe it. Technically, the Broncos should have beaten the Chiefs the first time around. Wasn't for that lucky blocked field goal.
Are we all changing our picks?
No. I'm sticking to the Broncos.
Yeah, he's saying Broncos.
Broncos.
I'm changing my pick. Actually.
No, you guys go right ahead for that. I'm telling you right now. No.
Because the Broncos need to lose in order for the Bengals to have a chance, right?
Yeah, the Broncos need to lose. Well, I'm just telling you right now. It's just not. I just don't see it happening. I think they will win.
I would sprinkle some on that money. I would definitely bet the 9.5. I think everybody's expecting Carson Wentz to be a flop, but I'm not saying Carson Wentz is great. But I used to think that. I'm not used, but Carson Wentz under Andy Reid's offense, and everybody expecting the Broncos to blow out the Chiefs. Maybe sprinkle some on that money line. I'm changing my pick to the Chiefs too. I think they play spoiler. I think that either the Jets or Chiefs play spoiler because they need to keep it interesting for the Bengals fans.
Yeah, I need to lay out the games. I think one of these games in which a team needs to win in order to get in against a really bad team is going to end up losing. That's like the Bucks, that's the Falcons, that's the Bengals, that's not the Bengals. I mean the Broncos. Like, I think one of these things that you think is going to be a shoe-in, I think they're just going to end up losing straight up.
Especially because the Jets and Dolphins and Chiefs and Broncos are on at the same time. They need to keep it interesting especially for the Bengal fans. So I think both games are going to be close, and it wouldn't surprise me if both lost. I think they want the Bengals in the playoffs.
You got to remember, this is the time of year where weird stuff happens, especially this week because of starters versus backups. And backups, they don't give a shit about draft position or playoffs or anything like that. A lot of these players are playing for their next job in the NFL, so they want to look good. So I think a lot of people expect like teams to lay down for draft position. The players don't care; they're going to play hard because what does it matter? Especially if you're a quarterback. That's why Drew Lock won. Who cares about Drew Lock? Doesn't care about Shedeur Sanders or the Giants' #1 pick. He needs a job next year. So
I think Carson Wentz is going to do the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, Carson Wentz is still a capable starter for some teams.
It's still Andy Reid's offense.
Okay for him. Maybe, hey, give me another shot as starting a quarterback, like the Raiders or Titans or somebody like that.
Still Andy Reid's offense with Steve Spags defense, and Carson Wentz is at least I mean, look at how many games they won. Chad Heine or whoever it was. I forget. All those
Yeah.
games Mahomes was out, they still won a lot of games.
Yep.
So, and their backup tight ends are really good still, like Noah Gray. Some of these tight ends that they have are pretty good. So, I'm
And
talking
Carson has
myself.
something to prove.
I'm talking myself in the Chiefs.
But yeah, I think we made some good points with the Chiefs here. I think plus 420 is kind of disrespectful. I know they're playing their backups, but four, plus 420 is intriguing to put some money on that. But anyway, the game of the week, Sunday Night Football. This was so obvious this was going to be a Sunday Night Football. I don't know why they couldn't just announce it right away, but Vikings. Clarence, you have the Vikings. My brother and myself have the Lions. So, what's your reasoning for the Vikings?
Well, I want to say because of that defense, of the Lions. I think I just don't have. I don't after watching, especially after watching what Brock Purdy did to that defense. You give a better offense and to Minnesota, who has a good defense. I think the Vikings are going to wind up getting that the win. I think the Lions are going to play a hard, but it's hard. It's only going to take you, but it's only but so far.
I'm really looking forward to this game. I think this could be game of the candidate for game of the year. The first game was fire too. So, what are your thoughts on this
Detroit.
game, Chris?
It's in Detroit. So, Lions are insane at home. So, I think they really want to host an NFC Championship game this year. I think they get the number 1 seed. They have a really good shot of doing that, especially since their side of the bracket looks a little bit weaker. I I think they're meant to host an NFC Championship game this year, especially since they played in San Francisco last year. So
Yep.
imagine Ford Field. Michigan's a big market. Yeah, I think the Lions are going to lock it up.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a really good game. If this was in Minnesota, I would be picking the Vikings. But rivalry game, divisional game, fighting for not just a division, but for number 1 seed. This is going to be a hell of a game. I can't wait. I just hope it lives up to the hype because this is probably going to be one of the most bet games in this season because of props. Vegas is either going to lose a lot of money or they're going to win money because a lot of people, like myself, is probably going to bet this game with same game parlay. So, but our week 17 MVPs, I have Jalen Daniels, Clinton Baker, and Chris Sam Darnold. Clinton?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll say Baker because of what he did this past week, 5 touchdowns overall, and how he's leading the Buccaneers to the NFCs. And technically, he's really being a great successor to Tom Brady. I didn't see the success that Baker Mayfield was going to have in Tampa Bay, especially after the departure of Tom Brady. But he's holding his own.
Yeah, I've become a Baker Mayfield fan. I used to not like the guy, but he's matured and he's become a real good quarterback. And I'm guessing Brown fans are grossed out right now because they used to have this guy. They're sick to their stomachs that they have they don't have Baker couldn't do this in Cleveland, but that's what happens when you leave Cleveland. Chris?
Yeah, I have Sam Darnold. I mean, really, really big game for them against a really good team, division opponent. He delivered. He did what they needed him to do. So Good game from Sam Darnold.
Yep. I have Daniels. Daniels put the team on his shoulders in the second half. He did everything he could to win that game. He even tried to score the game-winning touchdown, but he threw it to Zach. I mean, you can make a case for Zach Ertz too. But Zach Ertz got the game-winning touchdown. He had 2 touchdowns in the game. I know that kind of sickens Eagle fans, but I'm happy for Zach Ertz that he found that he's become a top tight end again. I don't know. At the time, I understand why we let him go and traded him, but he's turned around his career again. Kind of happy for him, but I know it's Washington, but I've always liked Zach Ertz. Let's see. Chris, your Week 18 power rankings: Vikings, Lions, Eagles, Bills, Ravens. I think we all have the same 5, but in different order. Mine is the Lions, Eagles, Bills. Oh, you don't have the Chiefs. Chiefs, Vikings. And Cliff, yours is Vikings, Eagles, Bills, Chiefs, and Lions. So me and Cliff both have the Chiefs. Neither of us have the Ravens. Wow. Wait. Oh, wow.
Yeah, we all have the same, except you guys have the Chiefs or the Ravens. I have the Ravens.
Yeah. It's hard to put top 5 together right now because we both left out 2 teams that could be in the top 5. Me and Cliff left out the Ravens and you left out the Chiefs. Y'all come, which is understandable. Let's see. Our best bets, and then we'll wrap up. Cliff, you have Mike Evans, 50 plus yards and anytime touchdown. I like that.
Yeah.
That's a good bet. Chris, you have the line spread, right? -2.5.
Yep.
And I have Jamar Chase getting 2 touchdowns. It's a big game. Saturday Night Football. Everybody, spotlight's gonna be on this game. There's no college playoffs that day, so the spotlight's gonna be on that game. Everybody's gonna be watching. So I think he goes his last game of the season, possibly. So I think he goes off and gets 2 touchdowns. Because I think he didn't have a touchdown last week, so I don't think he had T. Higgins had 2 touchdowns last week, so
Yeah, monster game.
Huh?
T. Higgins had a monster
Did he have
game.
a touchdown last week?
Yeah, he had a really nice catch in the right side of the end zone.
Okay. Yeah, T. Higgins has 3 touchdowns last week, so I think this week is Jamar Chase's week. Even though Jamar Chase still had a good game, he didn't have a touchdown. So I think he goes off this week. Last game of the season, possibly against the Steelers. He loves playing the Steelers. So, and as I said, it's a standalone game, and he usually goes off on these spotlight games. So, anything else, guys? It's a great show.
No, that's all I got.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Great football talk, guys. We'll be back next week for playoff preview. Hopefully, Clint, if you can be on, we'll try to find a day where all 3 of us can be on and we talk the playoffs. So, for all 3 of us, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
And
Happy
see
New
you
Year, man.
in 2025. I'll be
All right.
I might be doing a watch along for Alabama and Michigan for the first half. So I'll be on in about 10 more minutes again. So,
Okay.
Later.
Later.
Bye, guys. Oh, before I head out, Wrestling 30 Years will be back this week. It's gonna be I'll be a judge between Doug and Daniel's Raw versus WCW. They're each gonna present a card, and I'll be judging. So check that out. And Saturday for When Tunes Combine will be the third matchups of the classic cartoons. This week it's video games. So it'll be Pokemon versus Donkey Kong versus Super Mario Brothers Super Show, and then Street Fighter. So check that out. This is hopefully going to be one of our best shows. This one I'm looking forward to because I like Pokemon. I like all four shows. I mean, all four cartoons. I mean, video game wise, Donkey Kong and Street Fighter more. But Pokemon and Super Mario, I like the cartoons. So all of them have good video games. So obviously, because video game catalog, I mean, the video game league. So obviously, they all had good. That's why I chose these four. Now I shut up in the show. See you in a few minutes.